Note the disclaimer. And remember that my Patreon supporters got to see preview images, work in progress shots, and high-resolution images of the completed figure. Also, there's still time to vote in that top 10 of 2018 custom poll. It's in the description below, and you can actually see the top 13 already, but now we just gotta decide the order. So let's do that and get it done. Alright, time for another proper action figure. This is for Figure Realm user DJ8, Dark Enerjak. Now, you might ask yourself, hasn't Enerjak always been a power-mad chaos god? What makes him so dark now? Well, when you start out as a power-mad chaos god and decide that you want to up the ante by becoming a soul-stealing dictator, and then you change your costume palette to a black leather and gold, I think you've kind of earned the moniker of dark, don't you think? Okay, so just as this is actually just an alternate version of future Knuckles, we shall use Knuckles as the base toy. Now, I can't create the crazy wavy dreads that Dark Enerjak always has because he's constantly radiating power. You have to completely resculpt a new head for Knuckles for that. But I do like to give Dark Enerjak just a tiny bit of lift with his dreads by wedging some toothpicks onto the side of his head. This lifts him up and prevents him from bending back down. After that, there's just some accoutrements to make him look like his future self. As we know, in the future, Knuckles has a cybernetic eye. Never really explained why he has a cybernetic eye. He's put some detailings, like decorations on his dreads, like those bands and a couple little, I want to call them earrings or some other kind of jewelry. Although from the side, there's one is connected to his head by what looks like a piece of hosing. So without the helmet, the hosing doesn't really make much sense because it's just kind of going off onto a random spot in his head. So let's go ahead and make that helmet since it's such an iconic look of Enerjak. I started out by, of course, wrapping some tinfoil around Knuckles' head. Now the flat earthers can't get him. And of course, making the mask part of the head out of craft foam because, you know, that's just easy to get that cool, crisp look. The helmet itself is made kind of like a turtle shell in some ways. It's just bands over the dome. Here's an internal view of what the aluminum looks like on the inside. And it needs a gold paint job, and then you attach the mask to the front, and you have an Enerjak helmet that you can easily put on and off a Knuckles' head. Of course, that's only part of the costume elements, so let's move on to the limbs and stuff. You know, when I look at Dark Enerjak's armored Knuckles, I always just think that he just decided to just, like, gold plate the shovel claw and just leave it on. Like, cause, you know, it looks like the shovel claw. I mean, they're still badass, but, you know, especially when they're painted up, cause he just kind of looks like an Egyptian god. Like, I just look at this and it reminds me of Set or something. The legs are much simpler. There's just a little bit of sculpting and removing the Lego brick from the top of the shoe. But, you know, everything looks good when it's painted black and gold. I mean, come on, it's black and gold. How can that not look cool? Of course, there's quite a bit of fabric in the Enerjak costume. He has like a skirt with a little belting in the front and some shoulder pads. All this is made out of this fabric that I use to make capes and stuff. This is the fabric that I used to make Urbosa's skirt. Of course, it's painted, and the paint, once it dries, actually makes it a bit stiffer, so it actually feels like an armor piece and not like he's wearing a scarf or something. So all of that attached, I also use this is like a elastic string for wrapping presents with. It makes good hoses that attach the gauntlets to his shoulder armor, and he has a big old cape too because Dark Enerjak just loves his big old cape. Alright, so with the body completed, all we gotta do now is reattach the head and we will have Dark Enerjak. Yeah, you just gotta say it that way. You just gotta say Dark Enerjak. You can't just say Dark Enerjak. You gotta say Dark Enerjak. But yeah, look at that. That's everyone's favorite mad chaos god turned dictator, isn't it? And I love that helmet. You know, I really like making action figures with removable accessories. like whether it's Infinite's mask or Enerjak's helmet, it's just so cool to have an accessory you can take on and off. Like play around with the display options, like maybe have him hold the helmet, like so he can give a grandiose speech with his original Knuckles voice, or put the helmets on so he can distance himself from everybody else and they can see nothing but the glowing red eye behind the visor. Yes, that is the menace of Dark Enerjak. And it also was a really fun figure to make, and I really like this character's look. I remember the first time I made this guy was as a gift for Ian Flynn. I wonder if he still has it. Anyway, this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off. We'll see you next time.